August of 1947. The British Empire finally collapsed after its 200-year rule, leading to the birth of two multi-ethnic countries, India and Pakistan. But not all agreed with these hastily drawn borders, and the failure to build truly inclusive societies resulted in a number of movements for self-determination. Some fought for autonomy, some fought for independence, but of all, only one succeeded. This is the story of resolve and resilience. This is the story of Bangladesh.
In the northeastern part of India is the province of Bengal. Its area is 76,843 square miles.
For thousands of years, the people of East Bengal lived only in the margins of history. The centers of power shifted from Calcutta to Delhi, and later to Karachi. Being ignored for centuries, the aspirations of this land finally led to the decisive battle in 1971.
Nobody should try to suppress the 70 million people. When they're determined to achieve something, nobody can suppress them. Today, tomorrow, or day after tomorrow. They must win.
After 9 months of war, victory came on 16 December, when Pakistan surrendered with 93,000 soldiers, the biggest ever surrender after World War II. Shortly after independence, skeptics took Bangladesh as just another addition to the growing list of failed states. However, defying all odds, Bangladesh pulled itself through the debris of war and moved well ahead of its South Asian peers in most areas. In the last 50 years, poverty shrank by almost 80%. In 1972, the per capita income of Bangladesh was 61% below that of Pakistan. Recent numbers, however, show that Bangladesh has exceeded Pakistan by a whopping 62% in 2020. The GDP growth rate, which was just 2.5% in 1972, hit a record 8.15% in 2019. Export earnings increased by 111% over the 50 years. Bangladesh was one of the 3 countries in the world where the economy grew even during the COVID-19 pandemic. The country is set to emerge as the 25th largest economy by 2035. Very recently, Bangladesh started flexing its newfound economic muscle. In June 2021, Bangladesh offered Sri Lanka $200 million worth of credit. The same year, it also donated $7.7 million to rebuild Sudan's battered economy. If the economic successes of Bangladesh are remarkable, then its social transformations are nothing short of revolutionary. Since 1990, the value of Bangladesh's Human Development Index increased by 60.4%. Life expectancy soared from 46.5 years in 1972 to 72.8 years in 2021. For the last 7 years, Bangladesh was even outperforming all other South Asian nations in the Global Gender Gap Index. At 72%, the female literacy rate is higher than India's and Pakistan's. In 2015, the World Bank lifted Bangladesh's status from a low-income country to a middle-income country. In 2018, Bangladesh achieved the conditions to graduate from Least Developed Country, or LDC status. This is the first time a country is graduating from LDC status by fulfilling all 3 required conditions. So, behind such a spectacular success story, was there any magic ingredient in the mix? Not necessarily. The key was sweats and sacrifices of its people. The country's economic transformation was driven mostly by social changes, starting with the empowerment of women. Bangladesh's female participation in the labor force is 36%, higher than Pakistan's 21.9% and India's 21.5%. Bangladesh also has a fairly young population, with 70% aged below 40 years. With 10.5% annual growth in middle and affluent population, the internal market for Bangladesh is also one of the fastest growing in the world. Partnering with private sector, Bangladesh has digitalized social security and financial services, taking it to the very doorsteps of the poor and the needy.
Our policy, mainly, it is not only in the urban society. We give more importance to the rural society, because I believe that we should give more attention to the rural area. Our development should come from the grassroots level. Then it can be sustainable.
The country also heavily incentivized foreign investments, building economic zones, and technology-based industrial parks all over the country. A good number of large-scale connectivity projects has also been adopted in the last decade. Bangladesh is now on the cusp of a major infrastructural revolution. Like any other country in the world, Bangladesh is no utopia. Its development journey was interspersed with natural disasters, famine, coup, counter-coups, and military rule. Besides, income inequality and social disparities have widened in recent times. Climate change has also become an existential threat. And in coming days, the success of Bangladesh will depend on how it handles the loss of preferential trade after official LDC graduation in 2026. However, despite all challenges, Bangladesh these days can hardly be ignored, thanks to the economic might and the country's unique geographical position. The stories of sweats and sacrifices have transformed Bangladesh from a bottomless basket to a basket of surprises. Right after independence, some economists argued if development is possible in Bangladesh, it is possible in any other country. So, as Bangladesh celebrates 50 years of independence, its miraculous rise keeps the hope up for struggling nations and assures them that with patience and the right policies, it does get better.